In today's video, I want to tell you the thrilling story of Ezego of Ihiala, the Nigerian billionaire who sold his soul for wealth. This is the story of a man of many sides, Chief Victor Nnamdi Okafor, the Ezego I of Ihiala, aka Udubonch, aka the Young Millionaire, the Igbo tycoon who died tragically at a time he was to be celebrating his birthday. He would have been one of Africa's biggest billionaires. He was fair-skinned, spoke softly, and had warm smiles dancing on his chubby cheeks, accentuated by a not too bushy mustache. He was young, but as at that time, he was very well known and duly respected in the Nigerian business society. Victor Nnamdi Okafor was a first son and a native of Uzakwa, Ihiala in Anambra State. He was born on the 25th of December 1964. He had his primary school education at the Uzakwa Primary School, but he was forced to drop out in secondary school, Abbott Boys Secondary School, Ihiala, and eventually took to business. So yes, like many billionaire stories, he was a school dropout. His childhood was a very traumatic one, and at a point, his own father disowned him. Why? This happened when he was nabbed for being a member of a robbery gang that showed Onitsha traders hell on earth. After he abandoned school, he joined an armed robbery syndicate that terrorized the people of Anambra State for years. In 1988, every member of the armed robbery squad was apprehended except Ezego. He was elusive and evaded arrest severally. In these times, Ezego fled to Umumeni village, where his angry father drove him out. From there, he went to Umuduru, his mother's village. However, things were not rosy for him at Umuduru, and in 1989, he decided to move to Lagos, where he joined a mentor, Wisdom Ogbonna, to pursue business opportunities. What happened years after that remains shrouded in mystery, but the next time the world would be hearing of Ezego, he was already a multi-millionaire, one of the creme de la creme of Lagos. In Lagos, he set up the Ezego shopping complex in Allen Avenue. There was also a branch in Abuja and also the Ezego Plaza in the Murtala Mohammed International Airport. From this spot, he operated and controlled one of the biggest electronic stores in Nigeria. Ezego built houses, villas and mansions all over the country, one of which was made of glass. All his real estate as at 1999 outside of Ihiala was put at about $500 million naira. The expansive mansion that served as his country home in Ihiala was worth another 500 million naira. The marble used for the walls were imported from Italy. Ezego had one of the largest private cars garages in all of Africa. He loved cars and was always purchasing the latest ones stocked in his garages at Ihiala and Lagos. A car freak of the first class he was. His garage alone was valued at almost 1 billion naira. He once dropped 14 million naira to acquire just two Porsche cars, a sedan Lincoln Continental Mark 8 and a Mercedes-Benz Arrow 230 convertible from Moon Trends. This was a huge amount at the time. Actually, as at the time of his death, he left behind countless state-of-the-art cars, 70 houses all over Nigeria and overseas, and over 10 billion naira in his bank account. Ezego was married to the fair complexion and beautiful Lorita Nkechi, a princess from Akata in Imo State, and the marriage produced 8 children. Although Ezego's first son was from a Japanese woman, he also fathered kids with other women apart from his wife, Nkechi. Ezego's birthday was on the 25th of December, and it was his usual tradition to storm his hometown, Ihiala, every Christmas for the double celebration, which is his birthday and the Christmas celebration. His kinsmen and women in Ihiala eagerly awaited his annual homecoming, which meant a lot of goodies for everyone, and so it was that fateful December of 1999. Ezego was in the habit of storming the sleepy rustic hometown of Ihiala, impressing his people with his legendary wealth and affluence. So the 1999 edition was no different. The whole of Nigeria would know that Ezego was in town. Some of the most sought after musicians in the world's most populous black nation were billed to entertain the guests at the most exciting gala of the year. Afrobeat maestro Femi Kuti and his Positive Force band were billed to dazzle the guests and rock the community to its very foundation. To show how serious Ezego took the party, the money bag personally visited the African shrine to meet Femi and Nikbolakwo Kuti in order to ensure that all went on smoothly. The party was scheduled to start from the 9th of Christmas to the Boxing Day 26th, so Ezego decided to start his trip from Lagos on the 23rd of December. But little did he know that all his efforts were in vain. he was unconsciously planning for his own funeral. But what really happened? So on the 23rd of December, Ezego left Lagos as planned. He took off in a most flashy style in a convoy of 6 of his finest cars. This included a Lincoln Navigator 1999 model, limousine, blue Porsche, Lexus Jeep, a Cherokee Jeep, and a latest Honda. The interesting thing about that fateful trip was that Ezego would normally fly to either Enugu or Port Harcourt, where he would then be driven in a convoy to Ihiala. However, on this occasion, he changed his mind. For some unknown reason, Ezego decided to get behind his Lexus Jeep on the convoy and drive himself all the way from Lagos to Ihiala. But somewhere along the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, the first trouble reared its nasty head. Trouble started when the Cherokee Jeep's engine became faulty, but Ezego was in a hurry and could not even entertain the idea of missing his schedule and arriving on time. So he decided to keep managing the Jeep for as long as possible. But by the time the Jeep got to Asaba in Delta State, the car broke down completely in the oil-rich states. Now things were not getting funny anymore. Ezego was obviously in distress. His people were waiting for him back home so the carnival would start, but here was his car that he shelled out a lot of millions for, giving him the worst headache of his life at a most unexpected moment. But you know how dangerous Nigerian roads are. Ezego did not want to leave his cherished automobile in the middle of nowhere in Asaba at the mercy of robbers, not the car he bought with so much money. So he bellowed at one of his boys to purchase a chain so the Jeep would be towed. The lad returned with the chain, which was then attached to the faulty Jeep. However, that was the beginning of his problem, because Ezego was said to have insisted on towing the broken down vehicle all by himself, with him driving the Lexus, pulling the Cherokee. So he was in front while another of his boys was behind the wheels of the Cherokee. Well, no one was in a position to argue with the boss, so they continued their trip until that fateful moment when they reached a spot between Ozobulu and Okija on the Onitsha-Owerri road. At that point, they were just 2 kilometers away from Ihiala in Anambra State, Ezego's hometown, and their final destination. And that was when death decided to unveil his dreadful figure. Ezego reportedly ran into a damaged portion of the road while he was going down a steep slope, and all of a sudden, he stepped on the brakes. The driver of the Cherokee behind him was caught unawares, as he was not even prepared for the sudden stop. He suddenly rammed the Cherokee into Ezego's shiny Lexus, sending the king of money tumbling down a deep ditch by the roadside. It must, however, be noted that there are so many slightly different accounts of precisely how the accident happened. Other reports stated that it was actually the towing chain between the two jeeps that snapped, thus forcing the Cherokee at the back to ram into Ezego's Lexus, making him lose control and plunging into that horrible ditch. However it went, immediately this happened, his convoy was thrown into a pandemonium. Those in his convoy made frantic and desperate efforts to get him out of the ditch and get him to the most effective medical attention promptly. By the time they finally succeeded in getting Ezego out of the ditch, he had sustained a deep gash and his face was massively puffed up. He was rushed to the nearby Lady of Lourdes Hospital, where Ezego incidentally made a donation of 15 million naira a few years before the incident. He was still alive and stable when they brought him to the hospital, and all the medical workers went into an overdrive to save the life of a man they know as a mentor and a generous giver. However, things got worse. And to make matters even more frightening, there was no doctor on duty. By the time a medical doctor eventually showed up, Ezego was already bleeding from his mouth. He was having internal bleeding and was already in shock. All attempts to stabilize him failed. At that point, his family members suggested that he be quickly moved to a better equipped hospital in Port Harcourt. At this point, his tale became hazy, as it is not known whether he finally died while he was on his way to Port Harcourt or while he was being prepared for a flight to Lagos from Port Harcourt. Ezego was declared dead on the 26th of December, Boxing Day, and he was just 34. After Ezego's death, the same fate that befell many African entrepreneurs crept in, and his vast business empire collapsed. In December 2013, Yes International revealed that Ezego's empire had collapsed, and the majestic house he built at his hometown of Ihiala was a ghostly shadow of its former self, begging for attention. His pretty and very fair complexioned wife was said to have married the family lawyer, and precisely what happened to his property and estate is still a controversy. The controversies in Ezego's life did not subside even after his death. His lawyer and the person that was responsible for the execution of his will, Barnabas Igwe, was murdered in cold blood with his wife Abigail on the 2nd of September 2002, barely 3 years after Ezego's demise. Ezego's will was thus never read, and the exact beneficiaries are not known, at least as of January 2006. The Inspector General of Police, Sunday Ehindero, was called upon to investigate all leads relating to the murder of the Igwes, including Ezego's widow and a former police commissioner. But like many murder cases in Nigeria, it led to nothing useful. While the former governor of Anambra State, Chinwoke Mbadinuju, was accused of having a hand in the killings, others stated that the lawyer was killed with his wife in relation to the tussle over Ezego's will and property. All his cars deteriorated because no one wanted to drive or buy them, and his mansion were abandoned since no one wanted to live in or buy them because many felt he had made his money through occultic means. In addition, all of his business failed under unusual circumstances. Well, that's the story of Chief Victor Nnamdi Okafor, the Ezego of Ihiala. I hope you were enlightened and entertained with this video. Do me a favor and please like this video.